Welcome to Virtual Earth Day with Bluff Lake Nature Center. This is All About Animals, Part 6. This is Heidi from Bluff Lake to talk with you about the coyote. So the coyote is a member of the dog family, but instead of being a pet, the coyote is a wild dog. So even if we see it in the wild, which is something that is fairly common since they can live in a lot of different types of habitats, we're still always going to want to give it its distance because it is a wild animal. A couple of ways you can tell it apart from a dog from a distance, or if you don't have a very good look, is that coyotes run with their tails down, whereas dogs run with their tails up. If you come across some tracks and you're curious who was there, you can take a look at the tracks I've got in the photo there. Those coyote tracks are fairly narrow and they've got pretty noticeable pointed sharp claws. Dog tracks, on the other hand, would be more rounded and those claws tend to be a little bit more blunted. So those are some of the ways you can tell those tracks apart from a coyote versus a domestic dog. So as I mentioned, coyotes are very adaptable. They can live in lots of different kind of habitats, even including urban areas, anywhere around a golf course, a backyard, as long as there's lots of trees they can hide in. And they can also eat almost anything. So their natural food is small mammals that they would hunt alone or in pairs, rabbits, prairie dogs, things like that. They can sometimes hunt larger animals such as a deer if they hunt in a pack, or they'll also just eat anything they can find if they need to. Garbage, berries, carrion, which is an animal that was already dead. So they're really good at finding ways to make it no matter where they are. They are fast runners, 40 miles per hour, and they are good swimmers. And they're also very social creatures. So coyotes tend to have one mate and they keep mating with that same individual each year for life. They will come together each spring to have pups, and that's when the coyotes will use a den. So they don't necessarily have a den the whole year round. They really only need it when it's time to raise those pups. And they don't like to build their own den. Usually they will find one that was made by a fox or a badger that has been abandoned and take that and enlarge it to use for themselves. So when the pups are born, at first they're blind, their eyes aren't open yet, but over the first couple of weeks, those eyes open and the pups grow. Eventually, after a few months, the male pups will leave the mother, whereas the female pups will stay with the mother and become part of her pack. So you can see that coyotes are pretty social and they're also very vocal. So they have lots of different kind of calls that have lots of different meanings. Just a couple of them are a growl, you probably recognize, just like a domestic dog that is meant to be a threat. If they do more of a yelp, that's kind of the opposite. They're saying, I give up, I submit. If they use a yip, that can be a welcome to other members from the pack. If they do a bark, like a high-pitched bark, they might be calling their pups. Whines and whimpers can be a way to bond with their mate. And of course, the howl, which is what a lot of people would recognize. Coyotes howl either on their own, and they'll have a really distinctive howl. So you can actually tell individual coyotes from one another, and you can hear that for up to a mile. They'll also howl together as a group, either to greet each other after they've been apart for a while, or just to let other packs know their location. So that's a little bit about coyotes. In the wild, they can live up to 10 to 14 years. And this is something that we do see at Bluff Lake from time to time, usually early in the morning or late in the evening. They're crepuscular, which means that they like twilight times when the sun is coming up or going down. And in the spring, last summer, we were lucky enough that there was a coyote who liked to hang around and she had 2 pups with her. So we got to kind of see them getting a little bit bigger as the summer went on. But again, they really keep their distance from humans. They're not too interested in coming up to humans just because they're a wild animal. They like their privacy and they like their safety.